Mercy is for those who obey. Fear is the foundation of rule. A ruler who wishes to endure must not confuse benevolence with governance. Mercy, when applied indiscriminately, becomes an infection. It spreads softness, invites insolence, and signals to all who watch that the throne is unguarded. The ruler who seeks to be adored will find himself surrounded by flatterers, not soldiers, by courtiers, not guardians. Power does not grow in the fertile soil of love. It is born, shaped, and solidified in fear. Not a fear that provokes rebellion. No, such terror is crude and foolish. But a calculated fear, silent, persistent, and ever-present, like the shadow cast by a blade hung above the neck. Fear is more reliable than affection. Affection is fleeting. It bends with circumstance, with rumor, with time. Those who claim to love today will abandon you tomorrow if their comfort is shaken, if their illusion of safety is broken. But fear remains. It sinks deep into the bones and keeps a man loyal, even when his heart is unsure. He may curse your name in secret, but he will obey. And obedience is all that matters. To be feared properly is not to be hated. A wise ruler avoids hatred the way a serpent avoids fire. Hatred provokes plots. Hatred unites the weak. But fear, if shaped well, if guided with intelligence and restraint, holds men in place without forcing them to resist. They may whisper in corners, but they will not act. They will think twice before defying your will. And in the end, what matters is not their sentiment. It is their submission. Those who lead with mercy often do so in the name of virtue, as if their moral superiority will shield them from betrayal. But the realm is not a sanctuary, it is a battlefield. On battlefields, mercy is not rewarded, it is punished. The enemy spared today returns with allies tomorrow. The criminal forgiven today breeds defiance among the watching crowd. Every act of leniency whispers weakness to those who are eager to hear it. There is, of course, a place for mercy, but only when it serves purpose. Show it when it benefits you, when it secures loyalty or pacifies the mob. But never allow it to become habit, and never let it override necessity. A ruler who hesitates to act harshly when harshness is needed invites his own downfall. Power is sustained not by emotion, but by clarity. You must ask, what secures my position? What preserves order? What strengthens the foundation of my rule? If the answer is fear, then embrace it without apology. The people do not need to love their ruler. They need to feel him. They need to know that their peace is granted by his will, that their defiance would be met with swift and silent force. This is not cruelty. It is structure. It is law. For without the threat of punishment, what is law but suggestion? And what is a ruler but a servant to the whims of the crowd? You must stand apart, not as a tyrant, but as a figure carved from stone, unmoved by pleading, unshaken by emotion, incapable of weakness. The ruler who weeps for the guilty invites the innocent to suffer. The hand that pardons too easily will one day tremble when it must strike. But the hand that is feared, that hand shapes destiny. Mercy has its place, but only after obedience. Only once fear has rooted itself so deeply in the minds of men that they no longer question your authority. Then, and only then, can you afford the luxury of clemency. But until then, let fear be your envoy. Let your silence be a warning, your gaze a verdict, your presence a reminder that power does not yield to affection. It demands respect, and respect is born not from kindness, but from the understanding that disobedience carries a cost. Betrayal is not a sin, it is a strategy. Loyalty is a fiction that rulers speak of when it suits them and discard when it no longer serves their interest. The man who places his fate in the hands of the faithful is already half defeated. There is no honor in dying for loyalty, only silence in the end. The world remembers victors, not martyrs. Power does not grow in straight lines. It twists, turns, and coils like a serpent through the thorns of betrayal. And he who is unwilling to play this game of shifting alliances will find himself caged by his own ideals, while his rivals feast on the throne he protected with virtue. Betrayal, to the uninitiated, is the ultimate offense. To those who seek power, it is a necessary step, a silent maneuver under the mask of friendship. The most dangerous enemies are not those who shout from the gates. They're the ones who dine with you, toast to your health, and whisper assurances as they dig the grave behind your back. Why should you not do the same? Why should you wait to be betrayed when striking first is the difference between survival and ruin? You must learn to betray without guilt, without hesitation. Guilt is a burden you cannot afford. Hesitation is the weakness your enemies pray for. If a friend grows too strong, he is no longer a friend. He is a threat dressed in familiarity. If an ally no longer serves your purpose, let him fall. Not with noise, not with drama, but with precision. A quiet betrayal is the cleanest. Remove him like a stone from your shoe and walk on without turning back. It is often said that trust must be earned. But in the pursuit of power, trust is not a gift to be given. It is bait. Let others believe you're loyal. Let them see in you the mirror of stability, the reflection of a reliable hand. Give them enough confidence to open their secrets to you, to lower their defenses. Then, when the time is right, act. Not with emotion, not with rage, but with cold, calculated timing. Do not betray because you are hurt. Betray because it benefits you. Therein lies the difference between a fool and a ruler. Never forget that even the most faithful are faithful only until fear, greed, or ambition draws them elsewhere. The general who kneels today may one day march against you. The minister who swears loyalty may find higher bidders. The lover who whispers devotion may soon lie in the arms of your rival. Anticipate this. Prepare for it. And when the hour comes, be ready to strike not just your enemy, but those who once stood at your side. Do not let sentiment cloud your decision. Sentiment is the coffin of kings. But do not mistake betrayal for chaos. A wise betrayal brings order. It removes the unpredictable, silences dissent, and eliminates those who believe they cannot be replaced. Each betrayal must send a message, not only to your enemies, but to those who remain. Let them understand that loyalty, while appreciated, is not armor. That your favor is conditional. That proximity to your throne is not a privilege. It is a test. The moment they believe themselves essential, they are already dangerous. There are times when betrayal is not only necessary, but noble. When preserving the greater vision demands sacrificing an ally who has become a liability. When saving the state requires cutting off the rotting limb before the infection spreads. These are not sins. These are the actions of one who understands that the machinery of power is greased with difficult decisions, and that the crown weighs heavier when you pretend it is spotless. The ruler who cannot betray is not fit to rule. He is a dreamer caught in a world ruled by wolves. If he values loyalty above victory, he will lose both. Betrayal is the sharpest blade in the arsenal of power, not because it strikes the hardest, but because it is wielded when no one expects it. Morality is a costume worn by the weak. There is a theater in power, and morality is the most well-worn costume in its wardrobe. It drapes itself around cowards like royal silk, masking their fear with righteousness. The weak praise virtue because it is the only sword they are permitted to wield. But let no man be deceived. Power does not submit to morality. It wears it when convenient, removes it when dangerous, and burns it when necessary. Those who insist on ruling with clean hands are merely waiting to be overthrown by those who have no such illusions. A ruler cannot afford the luxury of conscience. Conscience is a chain forged by others to keep you still. They will whisper of ethics, of justice, of principles, but what they truly mean is obedience. Morality is not universal. It is invented, reshaped, and enforced by those in command. Today's virtue is tomorrow's vice. What is condemned in the vanquished is praised in the victor. Thus, the ruler must never serve morality. He must use it. Use it as a cloak, a banner, a distraction. Let the people see a just man while you do what is necessary behind closed doors. The masses do not want truth, they want comfort. And so, morality is sold to them like perfume, sweet enough to distract from the rot beneath. Feed them stories of goodness, of justice, of a noble ruler who acts from principle. Let them believe it. But understand this: the greater your mask of virtue, the more freely you may act with impunity. The key is not to be moral, it is to be seen as moral. The distinction is the difference between sovereignty and sacrifice. He who insists on moral purity will find himself restrained by impossible standards. His enemies will not play fair. They will exploit his restraint, twist his honor into weakness, and weaponize his principles against him. They will set fires while he debates whether it is just to throw water. In the end, he will be devoured by the very ethics he refused to abandon. And as he burns, the crowd will cheer his nobility. Then kneel before his successor, who knows better than to ask permission for morality before acting. The truly powerful man understands that cruelty, deceit, and manipulation are not sins in governance. They are instruments. Instruments that, when used with skill, create peace, order, and longevity. The surgeon does not apologize for cutting flesh to remove disease. Nor should the ruler apologize for cutting away threats, manipulating outcomes, or silencing discord when the survival of the state is at stake. To do otherwise is to place imaginary virtue above tangible stability. If the people must starve for the sake of a moral law, then that law is not noble, it is destructive. If the empire must fall so that the ruler may die with a clean name, then his reign was vanity, not leadership. The state does not require a saint, it requires a sentinel. Someone who is willing to sacrifice reputation for reality. Someone who understands that there is no moral victory in the ashes of a fallen kingdom. Let others be guided by ideals. Let them speak of goodness as they drift into irrelevance. You, the one who dares to rule, must live in the world as it is, not as it ought to be. Morality is a leash best placed in your own hands. You decide when it is worn and when it is cast aside. If it secures loyalty, wear it proudly. If it endangers your throne, strip it away without shame. The world has never been shaped by moral purity. It has been shaped by those who understood that history forgives the victorious. The sins of the powerful are rewritten as strategy, their betrayals as diplomacy, their ruthlessness as resolve. And when their statues are carved, they are not asked how clean their hands were, only how long they held the sword. Control perception, and you control reality. Power does not reside in the sword, nor in the law, nor even in the throne upon which a ruler sits. It resides in the mind, specifically in the perception others hold of that ruler. He who controls perception does not need to control truth, because truth is a fragile thing, easily bent beneath the weight of fear, admiration, or spectacle. Men do not follow what is true, they follow what appears true. They do not rebel against injustice when it is cloaked in ceremony, nor do they honor righteousness if it appears uncertain or weak. The wise ruler understands this and acts accordingly, not by becoming a slave to truth, but by mastering the illusion that governs it. Perception is the coin of power. He who spends it wisely buys loyalty, fear, obedience, even love. The people do not need to understand your actions. They only need to believe in them. Let your enemies vanish not with trials, but with silence. Let your harshest decisions be made behind velvet curtains, and your public face shine with the appearance of reason. Be the butcher in private and the healer in the square. The contradiction will never be noticed, because people will believe the face they are shown, not the hand that hides behind it. This is not deceit for its own sake. It is strategy. To maintain power, one must often act in ways that would be condemned if exposed. The solution is not to change the act, but to change the narrative around it. If you must raise taxes, say it is to protect the poor. If you must silence a critic, say it is to preserve unity. Wrap every necessary cruelty in the language of virtue, and the people will applaud the very chains they wear. Fear and admiration must be balanced, and both are born of perception. Let them fear your wrath, but never show them desperation. Let them admire your wisdom, but never expose uncertainty. A ruler who bleeds in front of the people loses not just dignity, but authority. You may be plagued by doubt in the night. You may wrestle with choices behind locked doors. But when you step into the light, your voice must be steady, your eyes fixed, your presence absolute. The illusion of certainty is more powerful than truth itself. A ruler must be many things to many people. To the noble, he must appear just. To the merchant, he must appear stable. To the soldier, he must appear resolute. To the masses, he must appear compassionate. He need not be any of these things, but he must perform them flawlessly. Failure to do so opens the door to chaos. When the people question the image, they begin to question the authority behind it. And when that happens, the ruler has already begun to fall. Control of perception begins not with what you say, but what you allow others to say. Let no rumor grow unchecked. Let no satire go unpunished. A single whisper can undermine a mountain of fear. Use spectacle to distract, ceremony to pacify, symbols to anchor belief. A crown, a robe, a carefully timed decree. These carry more weight than armies when wielded with finesse. The man who governs perception governs not only his people, but his rivals, who cannot strike at what the public sees as sacred. The wise ruler does not suppress all truth. He selectively reveals it. Let the people feel that they know enough, that they are part of your vision, even if they are only observing shadows on the wall. Give them victories to celebrate, scapegoats to blame, and promises to hold on to. They will not seek deeper truths if the illusion is satisfying. Most men do not want to think, they want to believe. And belief is a fire that, once lit, will defend your rule better than any fortress. In the end, reality bends to the will of the one who commands the story. Not the facts of what was done, but the meaning assigned to it. Not the body that falls, but the reason given for its fall. This is the realm in which true rulers operate. Not in the dust of policy or the letter of law, but in the minds of those who are ruled. Master that realm, and you need not ever reveal who you truly are. Crush the enemy entirely. Mercy is a future threat. To leave an enemy alive is to plant the seeds of your own destruction. Half measures are the indulgence of sentimental fools who mistake temporary silence for lasting peace. A wounded enemy learns, evolves, grows cautious. He studies your weaknesses in the darkness you left him, and when he returns, it will not be with words or pleas. It will be with vengeance carved into his ambition. The mistake lies not in cruelty, but in hesitation. The ruler who fails to finish what he begins will one day be finished by what he spared. When you strike, strike in a way that the memory of resistance is erased. Let no monument remain, no name uttered, no sympathizer survive. This is not malice, it is preservation. Mercy given to the defeated is a risk. It feeds the myth of their righteousness. It allows them to become martyrs, to haunt the minds of those who watch them fall. If one man opposes you in lives, he becomes a symbol. Symbols endure long after blood dries. But if he vanishes without a trace, if his end is thorough and unspoken, then fear replaces memory, and fear is a more obedient servant. The empire is not preserved through compromise. It is preserved through certainty. The ruler must be absolute in his decisions, especially when confronting rebellion or treachery. Let the people understand that betrayal will be answered not with judgment, but with eradication. Punishment must not only be swift,